Good day, everyone. Today, I stand before you with a powerful declaration: I am not a joker. This statement is not merely about rejecting the title of a comedian or clown. It is a deeper reflection on identity, respect, and the value of being taken seriously in a world that often labels, mocks, and misunderstands. Too often, society tends to judge people based on their outward appearances, their mistakes, or moments of vulnerability, branding them as mere entertainers or dismissing their contributions. But today, I want to challenge that notion. I am not a joker. I am a human being with feelings, dreams, abilities, and struggles. Behind every smile, every joke, or moment of lightheartedness, there is a person who demands to be respected, understood, and valued. Let us remember that our worth is not defined by how people see us in fleeting moments, but by the depth of our character, our actions, and our purpose. So, I call on everyone here to reject false labels, to rise beyond stereotypes, and to carry themselves with pride, dignity, and authenticity. Demanding respect is an essential act of self-affirmation and personal strength. It is the process of standing up for oneself in a world that often tries to minimize or overlook our worth. Respect is not something that should be given only to those with status, power, or wealth. Every human being deserves to be treated with dignity, consideration, and kindness regardless of their background, appearance, or social standing. When we demand respect, we are not being arrogant or aggressive. We are simply asserting our basic human right to be acknowledged as valuable and deserving of fairness. Too often, people find themselves in situations where they are overlooked, disrespected, or treated as less than others. This can happen in schools, workplaces, homes, or even among friends and peers. People might joke at our expense, dismiss our opinions, or treat us as if our feelings and thoughts do not matter. This can be deeply hurtful, and over time it can erode our sense of self-worth and confidence. When others repeatedly treat us with disrespect, it becomes easy to internalize those messages and begin to see ourselves through their eyes. This is why it is so important to break that cycle and to demand respect not just from others, but also from ourselves. Demanding respect begins with self-respect. It is about recognizing our own value and refusing to accept treatment that is beneath us. It means setting boundaries and not allowing others to cross them without consequence. It is not about responding to disrespect with more disrespect, but about firmly and calmly asserting that we will not tolerate being treated poorly. It is about teaching others how we deserve to be treated through our actions, our words, and our presence. When we respect ourselves, we send a clear message to the world that we will not settle for less than we deserve. At the same time, demanding respect is also about recognizing the value in others and offering them the same courtesy we expect for ourselves. Respect is not a one-way street. It is something that is built on mutual understanding, empathy, and communication. When we respect others, we create an environment where they feel safe, heard, and valued. In return, they are more likely to offer the same respect back to us. This creates a positive cycle that fosters healthier relationships and stronger communities. There will be times when demanding respect is met with resistance. Some people may feel threatened when we assert ourselves because they are used to seeing us in a certain way. They might try to shame us or accuse us of being too sensitive, too proud, or too difficult. But we must not let these reactions deter us from standing our ground. It is not our responsibility to make others comfortable at the expense of our own dignity. Our responsibility is to ourselves to ensure that we are treated as we deserve to be treated. Demanding respect is not about dominance or control. It is about equity, fairness, and justice. It is about creating spaces where everyone feels seen, valued, and heard. It is about standing up not only for ourselves, but also for others who may not have the strength or the voice to do so. It is about challenging cultures and systems that perpetuate disrespect, discrimination, and inequality. It is about being part of the change that makes the world more just and compassionate. In the end, demanding respect is an act of self-love and social responsibility. It is a commitment to living authentically and to fostering relationships based on honesty, kindness, and mutual appreciation. It is about knowing that our worth is not determined by how others see us, but by how we see ourselves and how we choose to carry ourselves in the world. By demanding respect, we set the standard for how we expect to be treated, and we inspire others to do the same. Acknowledging depth behind smiles is an important aspect of understanding human emotions. In relationships, many people go through life wearing smiles as masks that hide their true feelings, struggles, and fears. These smiles are often used as shields to protect themselves from judgment, ridicule, or unwanted attention. The world expects people to smile to appear happy and positive regardless of what they might be going through internally. This expectation creates a culture where people feel compelled to hide their pain behind pleasant expressions. This is why it is so important to look beyond the surface and to recognize that a smile does not always mean that everything is fine behind it. Every smile there can be stories of hardship, heartbreak, disappointment, and silent battles that few will ever know about. Some people smile because they have learned that showing vulnerability can be seen as weakness. They have been taught to keep their pain to themselves, to avoid burdening others, or to maintain an image of strength. Others smile because they want to bring comfort to those around them, even when they themselves are hurting deeply. The smile becomes a way to cope, to survive, and to keep moving forward in the face of adversity. When we acknowledge the depth behind smiles, we show empathy and compassion toward others. We move beyond assumptions and take the time to truly see people for who they are, not just for the image they present to the world. It means listening carefully, paying attention to the small signs that might indicate someone is struggling, even when they appear cheerful. It means creating safe spaces where people feel comfortable sharing their true feelings without fear of being judged, dismissed, or misunderstood. Ignoring the depth behind smiles can lead to dangerous situations where people suffer in silence, feeling isolated and unseen. This can contribute to feelings of hopelessness and depression because they believe that no one truly understands or cares about what they are going through. The world can feel like a lonely place when your pain is invisible to others. By acknowledging the depth behind smiles, we help break this cycle of silence and invisibility. We show others that their feelings are valid, that they do not have to hide behind a mask, and that there are people who are willing to listen and support them. It is also important to recognize that acknowledging the depth behind smiles is not about forcing people to expose their pain or demanding that they explain their struggles. Some people may not be ready to open up or may prefer to keep certain aspects of their lives private. Respecting these boundaries is part of offering genuine empathy. It is about letting them know that they have the choice and that when they are ready, they will find understanding and support. It is about being present, patient, and kind without pressuring them to reveal more than they are comfortable with. On a personal level, acknowledging the depth behind our own smiles is an act of self-awareness and honesty. It requires us to be in touch with our emotions and to give ourselves permission to feel and express them without guilt or shame. It is about embracing our vulnerability and recognizing that we do not always have to be strong or happy. We can honor our pain without letting it define us, and we can seek support when we need it without feeling like a burden. In the end, acknowledging the depth behind smiles helps create a more compassionate and emotionally intelligent society. It encourages us to look at people with curiosity rather than assumptions, to listen with our hearts as well as our ears, and to build connections based on authenticity and empathy. It reminds us that every person we meet is carrying something we may not see, and that a simple act of kindness, patience, or understanding can make a profound difference in their lives. By seeing beyond the smile, we affirm the humanity in others and in ourselves. Standing up against bullying and mockery is an act of bravery that requires strength, determination, and a deep sense of justice. Bullying and mockery are forms of abuse that target individuals in ways that damage their self-esteem, confidence, and overall sense of worth. They are often used to assert power and control over others by making them feel small, unworthy, or invisible. Bullying can take many forms, including physical aggression, verbal insults, social exclusion, and online harassment, while mockery uses ridicule, sarcasm, and humiliation to belittle or embarrass someone. In both cases, the goal is to undermine the dignity of another person and to strip them of their voice and agency. When we stand up against bullying and mockery, we are sending a clear message that such behavior is unacceptable and that every person deserves to be treated with respect, kindness, and fairness. It is important to understand that staying silent in the face of bullying is not a neutral act. Silence often empowers the bully, giving them permission to continue their behavior without consequences. It also sends a message to the victim that they are alone and unsupported, which can deepen their feelings of isolation and helplessness. By choosing to speak up and take action, We break that silence and create a culture where people feel safe, seen, and valued. Standing up against bullying and mockery is not always easy. It can be intimidating to challenge someone who is aggressive, cruel, or popular. It can feel risky. Stand with the victim, especially if it means becoming a target yourself. But it is precisely in these moments that our courage and integrity are tested. It is about doing what is right even when it is difficult or unpopular. It is about choosing empathy over fear and compassion over indifference. When we stand up, we show the victim that they are not alone, and that there are people who care about their well-being and dignity. There are many ways to stand up against bullying and mockery. It can be as simple as offering support to the victim, letting them know you see what is happening, and that you are there for them. It can mean speaking out against the bully, challenging their behavior, and making it clear that their actions are not acceptable. It can also involve reporting the behavior to authorities, teachers, managers, or other responsible adults who can intervene and take appropriate action. In some cases, it may involve organizing awareness campaigns or creating support groups to empower others to speak out and support those who are targeted. It is important to remember that standing up against bullying is not about responding with more aggression or violence. It is about asserting boundaries, setting a positive example, and promoting kindness, inclusion, and respect. It is about changing the culture from one of fear and cruelty to one of empathy and support. When we challenge bullying and mockery, we are not only protecting the individual victim, but also creating a safer, healthier environment for everyone involved. On a personal level, standing up against bullying also means refusing to engage in behaviors that mock, belittle, or exclude others. It requires self-reflection and the willingness to examine our own actions, words, and attitudes to ensure that we are not contributing to a culture of bullying, whether intentionally or unintentionally. It means standing firm in our values of respect and compassion and encouraging others to do the same. In the broader sense, standing up against bullying and mockery is about building a world where kindness is the norm and where every person is treated with dignity regardless of their differences, appearance, abilities, or background. It is about teaching children and adults alike the importance of empathy and respect and modeling these values in our everyday interactions. It is about ensuring that no one feels invisible, unheard, or unloved because of the cruelty of others. By standing up, we empower others to find their voice and reclaim their dignity. And we create a ripple effect of kindness and courage that can change lives and communities for the better. Emphasizing authenticity over popularity is one of the most important lessons we can embrace in a world that constantly pressures individuals to fit into certain molds and to seek validation from others. Society often glorifies popularity as the ultimate goal, making it seem as though the number of followers, likes, or friends we have determines our value and success. This mindset can lead people to abandon their true selves in an effort to conform to trends, meet others' expectations, or gain approval from peers. Yet the pursuit of popularity can be an exhausting and empty journey, leaving people disconnected from their authentic identities and constantly chasing the next wave of acceptance. Authenticity, on the other hand, is about staying true to who we are regardless of external pressures. It is about embracing our unique qualities, values, beliefs, and passions, even if they make us stand out or go against the crowd. It is about being honest with ourselves and others about what matters to us and what brings us fulfillment. True authenticity is not about perfection. It is about integrity, vulnerability, and the courage to show up as our real selves in a world that often rewards conformity. When we choose authenticity, we are prioritizing our own inner peace and self-respect over the fleeting validation that comes with popularity. The pressure to be popular can push individuals to suppress their opinions, hide their talents, or engage in behaviors that do not align with their values simply to fit in or avoid being judged. This can lead to feelings of emptiness, self-doubt, and internal conflict. Because we are not living in alignment with our true selves, we might gain the approval of others but lose sight of who we really are. This is why emphasizing authenticity over popularity is so crucial, because it allows us to build a life and Relationships that are based on truth rather than pretense authenticity fosters genuine connections with others. When we are authentic, we attract people who appreciate and accept us for who we truly are, not for the image we present or the roles we play. This creates deeper, more meaningful relationships where trust and understanding can flourish. In contrast, relationships built on the need to be popular or to impress others can feel shallow and fragile because they are based on illusions rather than honesty. Choosing authenticity allows us to surround ourselves with people who support our growth, accept our imperfections, and encourage us to be our best selves. Emphasizing authenticity also empowers us to pursue our passions and goals without fear of judgment or rejection. When we are authentic, we give ourselves permission to follow our own path even if it does not align with societal standards or popular opinions. We are able to explore our interests, develop our talents, and contribute to the world in ways that are meaningful to us, rather than simply doing what is expected or admired by the majority. This fosters a sense of fulfillment and purpose that popularity alone can never provide. Choosing authenticity over popularity requires courage because it means being willing to stand alone at times. It means accepting that not everyone will understand or appreciate us, and that we might face criticism or exclusion from those who expect us to conform. But it is in these moments that we discover our true strength and resilience. It is where we learn to value ourselves not for how many people approve of us, but for the integrity of our actions and the authenticity of our spirit. Ultimately, emphasizing authenticity over popularity leads to a more satisfying, empowered life. It allows us to live with honesty, clarity, and purpose, knowing that we are honoring our true selves rather than living for the approval of others. It frees us from the exhausting cycle of trying to be everything to everyone, and instead allows us to focus on being the best version of ourselves. By embracing authenticity, we set an example for others to do the same, creating a culture where people feel safe to be themselves, and where individuality is celebrated rather than suppressed. Inspiring self-worth and confidence is one of the most powerful gifts we can give ourselves and others, because it lays the foundation for a life of purpose, fulfillment, and resilience. Self-worth is the deep understanding that we are valuable simply because we exist, not because of our achievements, appearance, or the approval of others. Confidence is the belief in our abilities and the courage to take action despite fear or uncertainty. When we cultivate self-worth and confidence, we empower ourselves to face challenges, pursue our dreams, and build healthy relationships that nurture rather than diminish us. Many people struggle with feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and low self-esteem because they have been shaped by negative experiences, criticism, or societal standards that make them feel they are not enough. They compare themselves to others, focus on their flaws, and dismiss their own strengths and achievements. This internal dialogue of self-criticism can be incredibly damaging because it limits what people believe they can do and who they believe they can become. This is why it is so important to actively inspire self-worth and confidence by changing the way we speak to ourselves, by recognizing our inherent value, and by challenging the negative beliefs that hold us back. One of the first steps in inspiring self-worth is practicing self-acceptance. This means embracing ourselves as we are, with all our imperfections, mistakes, and vulnerabilities. It means recognizing that we do not need to be perfect to be worthy of love, respect, and success. Self-acceptance allows us to be kinder to ourselves, to forgive ourselves when we fall short, and to treat ourselves with the same compassion we would offer a friend. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, from our shortcomings to our strengths. Inspiring confidence requires us to take small, consistent steps outside of our comfort zones. Every time we face a fear, try something new, or speak up for ourselves, we build confidence through experience. It is important to remember that confidence is not about never feeling afraid or uncertain. It is about choosing to act despite those feelings. It is about trusting ourselves to handle whatever comes our way and learning from our experiences, whether they result in success or failure. Confidence grows when we celebrate our efforts as much as our outcomes, when we focus on progress rather than perfection. Another key aspect of inspiring self-worth and confidence is surrounding ourselves with positive influences. The people we spend time with can have a powerful impact on how we see ourselves and what we believe we are capable of. Supportive, encouraging relationships lift us up, remind us of our value, and help us see our potential more clearly. On the other hand, Toxic relationships that belittle, criticize, or undermine us can erode our self-worth and make us doubt ourselves. By choosing to build a circle of people who see the best in us and support our growth, we create an environment where our confidence can flourish. It is also essential to set boundaries and to protect our mental and emotional well-being from things that damage our self-worth. This means saying no to situations that make us feel small, removing ourselves from conversations that tear us down, and refusing to let others define our value. When we honor our boundaries, we send a message to ourselves and others that we deserve respect and kindness. Ultimately, inspiring self-worth and confidence is a lifelong journey. It requires patience, persistence, and daily practice. It is about showing up for ourselves even on the days when we feel unworthy or afraid. It is about remembering that our value is not tied to external achievements or opinions, but comes from within. It is about embracing our unique gifts and using them to contribute to the world in our own authentic way. By inspiring self-worth and confidence, we unlock our full potential and empower others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of empowerment and positivity that can transform not only our own lives, but the lives of those around us. In conclusion, I stand before you today not as a joker, but as a person who demands respect, acknowledges the silent struggles behind every smile, stands firmly against bullying and mockery, embraces authenticity over fleeting popularity, and inspires both myself and others to value our self-worth and confidence. I am not here to entertain at the cost of my dignity, nor to hide my pain behind laughter. I am here to remind you and myself that every individual deserves to be seen, heard, and valued for who they truly are beneath the surface. Let us choose to stand tall, speak boldly, and live authentically, because we are more than the roles others assign to us. We are strong, worthy, and enough just as we are.